Hey, what's up, Angel? Let's go ahead and just kind of dive into positioning and what we feel are kind of the core things that you need to as a cleaning company to really stand out in such a competitive marketplace.
I mean, and the reason I wanted to do this, and I think it's gonna be super helpful. I mean, how many cleaners are probably gonna be hearing this, or we talk to, that it's like, well, everything is price driven. Everything is there's so much competition, right? And so they double down on just they think that 95% of the sale is cleaning, right? So the reason I wanted to do this is going into 2022, there's a few things that people need to take in consideration especially when you want to compete, right? And what I mean is if you're listening to this and you're a cleaner and you're struggling on closing deals, right? If you're struggling on closing deals, there's a few factors that go into closing a deal, specifically in cleaners, right? So what is it, James? Most of the cleaners, most of the facility managers, when they're looking for a cleaner, even a dealership, like they send their RFPs, right? There's a lot of requests for proposals or bids, right, that go out even if it's not a government work, right? There's a lot of those and they go to I mean, I think average maybe like 50 cleaners, probably less
Yeah,
depending on the size of them, right? So I wanted to do this real quick. So I wanted to kind of break down what four things go into a winning a deal, if that makes sense, right? So
absolutely.
improving your closing ratio, not just increasing sales, but improving the number of accounts that you win and then the ideal accounts, right?
Before we get into this, Angel, like that specifically, I think it might be helpful to kind of give some people background on how you got to this conclusion on like why you felt like positioning was so needed to kind of be talked about, especially in the cleaning space that we sell in.
Well, I think there's a lot. It's a good point. So we'll talk about positioning, then how to win with position. I think that's the best way to do this. But the first part in positioning is you have to figure out what your core competencies are, right? Like what is your strength as a cleaner? So here's the activity that I'll have everybody do if you really want to figure out like what position you should be in. Okay. So first things first is you want to grab let's say we grab our current sales for 2021, right? And then grab your current your what you want to do for 2022, right? So I'm actually let me go get that. Let me go get the notebook real quick so that we're gonna walk them through it so they have an answer.
Awesome. And as Angel's kind of repositioning here, I think one of the main key factors is we know that facility directors and property managers don't just buy because of the standard of cleaning. Product and service will not separate you because it's hard to measure. Okay, we clean really well. Well, everyone should clean really well. So that's you need a different differentiating factor when it comes to your position.
And again, it's how you present everything, right? Good point there. Because again, you're not gonna go and you're not gonna clean everyone all the time to show that you're better cleaner. Because it has much more to that. So here's a cool activity for everybody, right? So grab your current size of your cleaning company right now, right? And then grab what you want to do for 2021. There's gonna be a gap in between. Now, what you want to do is you want to grab the average deal. So imagine if you have 20 clients, grab all 20 clients, add how much they spend with you on a yearly basis or monthly basis, right? On a monthly basis, and then divide it. So that way you can grab the average, like your average deal per size. Make sense? So I have two clients and they each pay me $10. That's $20. My average deal is 10, right? Or 15 and 17. The average deal is 15, right? So anyways, you grab your average deal. That's the first part that you want to do. And then you have to figure out how many of these deals would I need to make to get to the end, to get to my end goal, right? What you're gonna find out here is a few things. How much a lot of like you're gonna realize two things. Is this the type of client that I want to work with? Or do I want am I in the volume based business? Like do I want a lot of these little clients or a lot of these type of clients to get to my goal? Or do I want to shift myself into maybe cutting it out by half, but focusing on the higher ticket clients? So it's actually gonna allow you to figure out where you want to go for 2022 versus just saying I need to hit 3 million and I'm at 1.5. Now you're gonna say I need 17 clients at a minimum of $50,000 per blah blah blah. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yeah, so just to be clear, and to recap what I believe I'm hearing you say is find your average deal size, and let's say for simple math, it's $2,000. Going into 2022, if you want to increase your revenue by, again, let's just keep simple math here, by $4,000, you need two clients. Obviously, that's a small goal, but
So
I'm
kind
trying to
of, right? So
simplify my
like,
math.
yeah, yeah, no, so kind of. So maybe I'm not explaining it properly. Let's say their goal, let's say, is to grow regardless. The question is, how do I grow? Do I want to grow by having four $1,000 clients, four new $1,000 clients, one new $4,000 client, or two
Got it.
$4,000 for client? Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
The
Absolutely. That
question
makes
is,
sense.
there's always like that number, the goal, the number. The question's how do we get there? And some people listening to this, they might be like, dude, I hate hunting the $5,000 a month clients because they do take longer, sales cycles are longer, you have to be there at the right time. And somebody that likes hunting big ones or that only wants to do a bigger job might say like, dude, I don't want to entertain anything below $1,500. So, but when they do their averages, they'll find out if they're on their way, like they're doing what they want to do, they're hunting the ideal client, or if they're actually below the average standard that they have, or
Yeah.
higher, right?
Yeah.
They might find
Exactly.
out that their average is deal is like way high, and we're like, oh my God, we need to try to get smaller clients and increase revenue faster. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Okay. Totally. So that makes sense. It's not about how many accounts are you going to sign on. It's about how are we going to hit that number we've set to go and
Ex-
achieve.
Exactly. And once you figure out your average deal, like let's say your ideal is 5,000, right? You were at 2,000 average. Now you want your average to be 5,000. Well, now you gotta go figure out, and this is where positioning gets fun, right? So now you gotta figure out, well, who are the businesses that spend $5,000 a month in commercial cleaning? Not 500, right? Because a $500 coffee shop versus a $5,000 clinic or healthcare center are going to be two different people. So what that's going to do is that's going to help you understand that part, right? Who are those people? Once you understand those industries that are going to pay you 5,000, well, guess what, right? The way you speak to a $500 coffee shop is going to be different than when you speak to a facility manager, right? For example. It depends where you
Absolutely.
want to go, right? So when you're able to see, okay, I'm gonna go for a higher average deal or lower average deal, then you get to build what you would call like your persona, your ideal target market. So who are those industries? And then you have to figure out who are the job titles inside of those industries. What are their psychographics, right? Like what do they look into? Do they care more about trust? Do they care more about responsiveness? Do they care more about X versus Y? What do they want? What are some issues that they see, right? Like staffing or just having to manage the cleaners outside of all the employees they have to manage. So you have to figure out what they want, what they struggle with, and who they are as like as a person, right? Your ideal avatar. When you're able to get that, right, then you're able to actually understand who you can hunt. So again, just to recap with a few steps, right, is where do I want to go in sales? How many clients, based on my average deal, how many clients would it take me to hit that sales number? Do I want to stay in that lane of my average deal size, or am I trying to hunt bigger deals or smaller deals? Once you answer where you want to play, which is that's the question we want to answer, right? Like, where do I want to play? Then you gotta go identify who are those opportunities that will then give you that. So now you're looking at square footage, big buildings, job titles, right? Employee count, so that you can start creating a lead list or a list of businesses that could at least fit in that criteria.
Absolutely. And just to add on to the persona aspect and the psychographics, the first thing that comes to mind is if you're dealing with a bigger time facility that might have security, that might have badges, that's a whole different ball game of what matters to that facility director than to, let's just say, the 2 time a week dental office that you might be servicing. Well, the doctor's still there, for instance, right? So when I think persona, I think like what really matters. Does security matter? Does convenience matter? Does reliability matter? So those are a lot of the bullets that I'm at least thinking of when you're saying this.
Yeah, and the beautiful part is you get to, instead of, some people get scared of cold calling, right? And some people get scared of, well, then don't, just call and learn, right? Don't call and try to book an appointment. Call and be like, hey, I'm trying to be the go-to commercial cleaner for facility management managers, right? Uh, do you mind if I just ask you a couple questions? Like, I mean, what do you look for in a cleaner? What do you look for in a partner? What do you hate the most? What's been, right? What do you, are you price driven? Is it quality driven? Right? What, how can we help you with your objective? So basically, you build out, and you can do this, by the way. Just pick a list of 50 facilities and call and just ask them if they're down to help you answer some questions. But that's going to give you all the insight that you need, right? To then be able to pick where you're playing and how you're playing it, right? So now your messaging and your calling, and this is where positioning comes in place, right? Now I'm not gonna go and position myself as the cheapest, because after talking to these facility managers, what they really care is about the most secure, trusted, and responsive. So I'm gonna take my messaging, my website, my content into LinkedIn, whatever I'm gonna use, my emails, everything's gonna be surrounded around who I'm going after and where I want to play and who I want to play for. Right? A big mistake that people are gonna make is they put this sales goal in 2022, and then they just go and throw shit at the wall and hope something sticks, right? They're like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. When you're able to really focus and become the go-to for that specific industry, or when you get really clear on who you're going after, your messaging, it almost sounds like you're always speaking to them and you're always in their head, versus, hey, do you need a commercial cleaner? Everybody at one point needs a commercial cleaner. Nobody wakes up and goes, "Oh, I want a commercial cleaner today." Right? Like, "Oh, I want to replace my cleaner today." But we also know that most of the contracts are won over by replacing the cleaner. So the real
Yes.
question is, how are you positioning yourself for that specific market, or for those, like, based on where you're trying to go? Because there's those cleaners that are like truck in a truck. They're always gonna be the cheapest, right? Then there's those cleaners that, hey, I want the smaller deals, and I'm all about volume and turn and burn. Like, I know attrition's a thing. Then there's the other commercial cleaners, right, where it's like, I only go for large, medium to large size contracts, and I'm all about relationships. Then there's the, hey, I'm all about government work. Then there's, I'm a franchise and we do a lot of subcontracting work, right? So you have to figure out, where are you gonna play? Which one do you
Absolutely.
wanna be?
I think that's really well put. Kind of defining your category. It sounds like. Talk to me about what positioning looks like once you do kind of start that sales process and do get engagement from that prospect, and even like once they become a client, your positioning, I'm assuming, doesn't end there because you've already positioned yourself. Like, let's say you're doing secure facilities, for an example, that kind of message and that kind of positioning, I'm assuming, goes through the sales process and into the onboarding phase, would it?
Yeah, exactly. So once you say, okay, I'm gonna be the high-end commercial cleaner, for example, I'm not gonna be the cheapest, but I am gonna have high quality. All my employees are gonna have backgrounds, blah blah blah, right? Like, I'm gonna be the high end. Now the question becomes, how do you lay that out through your sales process? So how do you give off that you are high end throughout the process? Is it all your reach outs are personalized message? When you meet with them the first time, you take them a cup of coffee, right? Do you, when you meet after you do a walkthrough, do you send a thank you email, right? What shows them that you're gonna be able to build trust throughout again, and this is if you're high end, right? How are you gonna build trust throughout it? And what's your customer experience like? So you got prospect experience, buyer experience, and then client experience, right? We can call them journeys too. So like, you have to figure out how you're on each of them, how you're gonna come out winning. So how you're gonna show your position. right? So I'll give you guys an example. So let's say I'm the high-end cleaner. Every time, and then every time I'm gonna talk to you guys, and before the walkthrough, I'm gonna send you a video saying that I'm excited for the walkthrough. Check out these testimonials, so that you feel comfortable with who we are and who's going to your facility. Boom, right? Like and then you do the walkthrough, and then before you even send the proposal, you're sending them a thank you with a recap, and then learning more about them, and then you send a proposal, right? If they say yes, then you have a meet the team. You take the supervisor in person to meet them. You greet them. You take them to lunch, for example. This is like all part of the experience because I'm positioning myself as the high-end cleaner. Does that make sense? And so it's not just, yeah, I'll show up and clean and here's a just a proposal. I'm wondering what are their objectives? What do I need to do? I'm gonna take them to lunch so that they can meet their cleaners. Like but again, this is because I'm building out a high-end experience. So once you figure out where you're gonna play in the market, like who you're gonna play as, then the next step would be just ask yourself, if I could 10x my customer experience and make this experience the best for them, that will reflect who I am as a company, what would that look like? Most cleaners don't do that and they think that product is most of the sale, and it definitely is not.
I'd like to ask you a few questions on that.
Yeah.
This has came up lately a lot, and just various meetings and trainings I've been in with you. Talk about 10x in that experience. Like, it's actually a hard thing to imagine and put onto paper because you say like, oh, my logical brain kicks in. What's maybe talk to me about the 10x practice? What's something that someone listening can actually do today to kind of go through the 10x experience?
I mean, just ask yourself, what could be one, get your strengths. So like what are you really good at? Right? What are you really good at? And then ask yourself, how can I include that? What do I want my customer to feel when I walk into the door? What do I want? What button am I pressing when I send them an email? Right? Here's a good question. When they think of day porter, for example, what do I want them to think of? When they think of X and X commercial cleaning, what should be the top three words that come into play? Write down those 3 to 4 words and then make them part of your process. Like ask yourself, how can I make someone like if someone wants to feel trusted or wants you to feel like they gain trust with you, what are some things you can do to gain trust, right?
I think that's, and then really what you're doing when you're talking about those 3 to 4 words is, I'm assuming that's probably part of your positioning right
Yeah, I
there.
mean it's your reflection as a company. I think not a lot of people realize that you're like the company. What's the reflection of the company? Again, is it just a commercial cleaner? Like, are you just trying to go and clean offices and always compete in price? Or are you trying to be the commercial cleaner that competes in experience, right?
Let's talk about the benefits of positioning. Obviously, I believe you can charge higher, but what are some other benefits? Another thing that comes to mind is like retention rate when you
Retention, yeah.
position, and retention's huge, especially in this space. Once we put so much effort into gaining a new client, we want to keep that client, right? That's
Yeah.
how we project and stay healthy from a revenue standpoint as a business. Any
You might
other
you might
things
have
that
the
come to mind when you think of
yeah,
just
you
like the
might
benefits of like really differentiating yourself outside of just being chucking a truck or your typical cleaner?
yeah, so I mean, let's be honest, price still comes into play, right? So I'm not gonna say that you can always charge more, but it will help you with your win rate. So even if you're at the same price as your competition or even a little lower, right? You're still going to be able to win more outside of just price. And so that's a huge part in positioning. The second part is clarity. I don't you talk to so many commercial cleaners and business owners in general, they don't know where they're at in the market. So it's really hard to make the best educated decision after that. But if, for example, if I know that I'm going to be the cheapest, right? Let's say that that's where I'm going to choose, then I better have some good profit margins. Like I better figure out a way to be operational only. I don't care about relationship. I don't care about finding like deals. I'm volume driven. So I'm get me a bunch of freaking leads as you can. Pound the freaking phone, get them on the phone, try to close them ASAP, and get it. Right. So now anything outside of that, it doesn't really matter to me because that's not what I'm trying to be position wise, right? If I'm high end, I don't need 50 opportunities in a month or 30. I need a solid targeted five targeted opportunities where I'm going to win three out of five, but those three out of five are going to be well nurtured, well taken care of. It's going to be a great relationship. Then it's going to lead into a six-figure contract, right? So having clarity allows you to make the right next steps going forward, right? So when you don't know where you're positioned at or where where you want to be, who you're trying to become as a cleaner in 2022, then you start making all these sporadic decisions and
Yes.
you're not being strategical about where you're going, right?
Yes. Absolutely. I think positioning helps you get deals done faster. And the reason why positioning helps you get deals done faster is because you have focus on the type of deals that you're working.
Yeah, and I
And
think it gives you just deal clarity, right? Some deals might take 6 months, some might take a week, some might take a year, some might take 2 months, but it's about the right deals in the pipeline, right? And then the right methods, right? If am I gonna cold call? Am I gonna use LinkedIn? Am I using both? What's the messaging? When you get clarity on your positioning, what's the messaging on my website, right? I'm not gonna give discounts because I'm the high end. This guy's asking for, does that make sense? So like it just allows you to make strategic decisions based on who you want to become. It's think of it on as a personal level. Um, what do I want my positioning to be as a husband, as a dad, as a brother? Do I want to be just the one that everybody gets to run over? Do I just want to be a fly in the wall? Do I want to be a leader as a man? Okay, well, if I want to do that, then my positioning can be uh wake up late. I can't not work out. I can't eat whatever. I can't just say yes to everything, right? I have to have to stay in a specific lane that allows me to be the best version of me, right? And hit my goals. And then in return, again, I attract those type of people around me. I get those type of results around me. And I get to make decisions that support that specific person I'm trying to become. So if you're hearing this, ask yourself, where do I want to position my company in 2022? And where do I want to position myself? And again, the way you see that is just the way you look at my average, my revenue for 2021 and where I want to go in 2022. Ask yourself, where was my income in 2021? What's my income in 2022? Over here, average deal size, so you can see how many more deals you need to make. And of course, include attrition there. That's up to you. And over here too, how did I make my money? What average did I pay myself? Do I want to keep paying myself that average or do I want to increase what I pay myself? If you want to increase what you want to pay yourself, then you need to increase what you charge over here. But
hmm,
if you're saying I'm all about the frequency, then okay, then keep paying yourself the same, just add more to the top of the funnel, right? So this is where it gets fun, right? Because if you start moving around it together, your personal life, and you reflect it to your company, then you're able to make a lot of strategic decisions across throughout the year.
I love that. I really love that. And they totally blend together. Maybe just to keep it short here, Angel, I know that this topic kind of came about just from conversations that we've had this past year with cleaners and even conversations that we've had with ourselves on
Mm-hmm.
how we want to
Yeah.
be positioned. Um, and definitely position yourself not just to be the best commercial cleaner in any given market. What does that actually mean? What are the things that go into that? I think my biggest takeaway from just hearing you talk, though, is really it gives you clear direction on what to do next to move your company forward. So maybe before we end here, I don't know if you have any final thoughts, but I think this is something that's probably an underrated topic in our industry.
I mean, I think dude, it's crazy, but you have to see it as a business. Like and you have to see yourself as a business, and you have to see the business as a business. Just because you go and make calls, just because you email, just because you randomly go and do walkthroughs, no one owes you anything. Your business doesn't have to succeed, right? But the catch is like, there's working hard and then there's working smart, right? There's chaos and then there's controlled chaos, right? So, but the point is like, one of the biggest quotes that I love that have been super crucial to me is get better at who you are and you'll get better at what you do,
Hmm.
right? I love that one. It's not get better at cleaning and then you somehow you're your company will then take its shape into the best fucking cleaner in the world. No, right? It's get better at who you are, and then you get better at what you do. So if you really give an identity to your commercial cleaner, what are the core values? Where do we want to play? What's the average deal size? How do those people think? What do we say about our company that attracts these type of people? Right? Like a fly goes around trying to get shit. That's how a lot of commercial cleaners go and try to find deals. What does a bee do? Or what does a flower do? I think it just like puts the pollen or whatever, and then it automatically attracts the bees. So you have to put the pollen, right? You have to have the little, I don't know, dude. I don't know any fucking science, but the point is like if you give your commercial cleaner identity, then you build a brand. You know where to play. You know who to play with. You know where to price it. You know how to talk about it. You know how to talk to that specific buyer persona's problems. And then now, like once you make the sale, you know you can actually do the job, right? And even when you make mistakes, you'll be able to at least have such a strong relationship with them because it's so clear who you are as a person and as a company that then that like they understand and they're able to retain you,
Yeah,
right?
the
They're
trust is
able to
built up
retain the
there.
client 100%. I mean, you probably met some people and people hearing this that you're just like, dude, I don't know what that guy's deal is. Like, I don't know, right? But then you also meet those people that they walk in the room and you're like, oh shoot, like you could tell this is a man of God. You can tell that this is a real business owner. This guy stands for this.
They have a
He
presence.
he looks fit. Therefore, I know that he's disciplined when it comes down to working out. Oh wow, look at that husband and that wife, like with that beautiful kids, and they're well behaved and blah blah. Blah. Like you start seeing all these things, and you can automatically see the identity in them. Just like Apple has identity, just like Google has identity. Look at Elon Musk and Tesla. Like it's all they have a specific identity that they fit into, right? Because they understand their position in the market and they understand like who they are, what they stand for, who they go for. So that's why they don't go after everyone. So ask yourself, and again, this is why you don't see commercials of Rolex on TV, right? Because the people that need a Rolex aren't sitting down watching TV, right? They're fucking
Yep.
out there working, or they have
Yeah.
their Ferrari, or they don't watch TV, right? Or
that's
commercials.
that's
So
awesome.
that's their positioning because that's who they're going after. So ask yourself, who am I as a commercial cleaning company? Who am I going after? What do they value? How do we relate to what they value? And then go out and sell them. And if you can understand that in 2022, then it's not about now you won't be stressed asking questions on where do I get leads? How do I get more opportunities? Now it's based on where I'm going. I just need to find 20 of this in a year, close five of them, and now I just multiply my business by $300,000. Or I need to now you find out that you need to get 200 at 500. Therefore, it's all about making connections and making calls and pounding the phone and being more intense about it. So make those decisions, right? Get that positioning straight and then go kill it in 2022.
I'm going to throw something out if you've made it this far, whether you're watching, whether you're listening, on whatever platform that you're getting this on. There'll be a link in the bottom. If you click that link, you can schedule a 15-minute call with Angel or I to just kind of learn more about how we can like at least help you get off the ground with your positioning. Dude, I really appreciate your insight here, Angel, as always. I think it's critical that we do identify exactly who we are and what we want to go achieve moving into 2022 because the industry that we're in is just getting bigger. And more than anything, now 2 years removed from COVID, companies know that cleaning is essential. Where maybe in 2019, they thought maybe it's important, maybe it's not. Now they know that it is.
The
So let's
question
go
now
ahead
is
and,
why are you going to be essential as a cleaner, right? We
yep.
know cleaning is essential. The question is why you? And this
Why,
is where you
why,
come in.
why you, and why you only matters if you know who you're going after, right? Because that why is going to change. I love it, man. So if you listened to it this far, check out the links below. Definitely happy. No strings attached. Literally zero sales pitch, zero strings attached to just listen about what you got going on and see if we can't like help find what makes you different. So thanks, brother.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.